I'm Harrison Keeley. Here's what you need to know today. First, Volkswagen is apologizing for selling vehicles rigged to cheat emissions tests. The EPA revealed that VW used software that allowed its diesel cars to release less pollution during tests. The cars built in the last 7 years include the Jetta, Beetle, and Passat. Volkswagen could be fined more than $18 billion. The company has stopped selling 2015 diesel cars with 2-liter engines. The chief operating officer for the city of Chattanooga is resigning. Brent Goldberg is leaving to become vice president of Lesco Logistics and Lync America. David Carmody will act as the city's interim COO until the position is filled. A teen fell 40 feet from Rainbow Falls on Signal Mountain. The 18-year-old, whose name has not been released, fell Sunday afternoon. Rescuers had to cut down trees to get him to safety. He was taken to Erlanger in critical condition. It turns out the retired admiral who spoke at the Chattanooga Unite event was invited after all. Ace Lyons blamed the July 16th military shooting on Obama and called the president anti-American. Organizer Chip Baker initially said Lyons was not invited, but now says that wasn't the case. EPB plans to generate its own power for the first time. The utility plans to build a solar farm, probably on one of its service lots. It's expected to generate power for 125 homes. 4 people were injured in shootings in Chattanooga Saturday night. 18-year-old Delvante White was hit on North Willow Street. 25-year-old Tremail Harmon was shot in the neck outside Bootsy's nightclub. And Charles Jackson and Kia Pines were shot at Cromwell Hills Public Housing. All of the victims are expected to survive. A Ringgold psychologist is accused of more than $250,000 in Medicaid fraud. Authorities say Dr. Dolslyn Imperio-Smith billed Georgia for services that were never rendered. A Signal Mountain couple whose divorce request was refused will now get to divorce after all. Judge Jeffrey Atherton refused to grant Thomas and Pamela Bumgardner's petition last month, citing the Supreme Court's gay marriage ruling. According to a court order, he's now changed his mind. Cleveland has chosen a new police chief. Interim Chief Mark Gibson was named to the job. He beat 2 other finalists, Highway Patrol Captain Jesse Brooks and Red Bank Police Chief Tim Crystal. Gibson will be sworn in September 28th. City leaders hope his appointment will mark the end of years of scandal at the department. A pro wrestler has been ruled ineligible to run for mayor of Ringgold. Paul Lee says he's lived inside city limits since 2013, but his competition, Nick Millwood, says Lee hasn't lived in the city for at least 12 months. Now the election superintendent says Lee is threatening legal action. The 11th Judicial District has a new criminal court judge. Ottawa attorney Tom Greenholtz has been appointed by Governor Haslam. Greenholtz fills the vacancy Rebecca Stern left when she retired in June. An execution date has been set for Georgia's only female death row inmate. Kelly Renee Gissendanner may be executed sometime between September 29th and October 6th. Gissendanner, who was convicted of murdering her husband, would be the first woman executed by the state in 70 years. A Sequatchie County developer pleaded guilty to felony fraud. Craig Edward Smith formerly led the construction of the Extreme Makeover home in Rossville. Now prosecutors say he diverted money for building other homes to different purposes. He's been sentenced to 21 months in federal prison. Finally, UTC officials had to evacuate 3 campus buildings on Friday after a flea infestation. The buildings affected were Hooper Hall, Founders Hall, and Race Hall. No dorms or classes were affected. The college hopes to reopen the buildings this week. Turning to weather, today will be sunny with a high near 81 degrees. Tonight's low will be around 59. That's it for today's news. Thanks for being with us. You can find more on these stories and breaking news at timesfreepress.com.